Rightio, so we've made a change that was inevitably coming for quite some time. We've headed off on our own, so we're back on the French line early this morning. The moon's actually still considerably in the sky. We've got the sun starting to peak behind us. There's a lot of colour and stuff coming up behind us there. We did toy with the idea of backtracking slightly, and you can get on a route called the Rig Road, which was put through the desert, not quite sure when, but it was designed for mining, so they basically made a high-speed route and cut across the desert. We did a bit of overnight navigating and looking at maps and talking to everyone else, and it's about another 100 kilometres it would add. So we decided for the speed that we would gain, but with the distance added, it would probably end up being about the same time. So we decided not to do that little backtrack. It's probably only about a kilometre back up the road from where we camped, so it wasn't too far, but it's the fact then you have to drive out to get onto this other route, and then down along it, and then back onto the French line again. So we decided we'll go this slow, rolly, bumbly way and get a head start on the day instead. So what time is it? It's just after 7 o'clock. We got up about 6:30, so nice quick start. We haven't had breakfast or anything like that. We'll get into the day maybe about an hour's time or something like that. Once the sun's up and the air starts to warm up as well, we'll get out and make a coffee, have a little bit of breakfast, and then keep going.
It certainly is a pretty cool sight as we drive towards the moon and the sun rises behind us, watching the ever-changing colour of the sand. The sun now fully in the sky and the temperature starting to warm up. We find somewhere to pull over, make a little bit of breakfast and have a nice hot coffee to start the day. Running a coffee machine in a four-wheel drive tends to cop a lot of hate, but once you've done it, I tell you what, there's no looking back. With the time now ticking on our schedule and the French line being quite a tough track with its massive sand dunes, not to mention the oncoming traffic coming over from the west, we decide to detour, head down the Colson track and head down the Rig Road before coming back onto the French line just to make up a little bit of ground. Before we know it, we're back on the French line and headed to our destination for the day, Dalhousie Springs. It's not long before we're up and over our final sand dune and driving out across the open plains of the South Australian desert. Unfortunately, the speed that we're travelling at slows down after a while as we come across some of the worst corrugations I've potentially ever driven. And I tell you what, I've driven a lot of very bad corrugations. Now, due to the fact that we got into camp just after dark last night, we get up early to have a quick look at the springs. Unfortunately, we don't have the time to swim, so we'll push on and we'll hopefully reach our destination of the geographical centre of Australia very shortly.
We're on the final stretch now. We've just left Dalhousie and we're on our way to Mount Dare. So the track so far this morning is pretty good. Yesterday afternoon we actually come across some really bad corrugations. I'm assuming left from those that are heading east and coming from Mickey Desert Race and all that kind of stuff. So it's actually quite horrific. Almost as bad as some of the ones I've experienced up north and stuff like that. But this morning it's quite good, so making up a little bit of time. Should be in Mount Dare in about 30 minutes.
fill up for fuel at Mount Ayr before continuing on our way.
So we're on the home stretch now. We're doing about 80 kilometres an hour on this OUT&BACK highway of sorts. Pink Road, there you go, that's what it's called. So it's pretty smooth, only mild corrugation, so making pretty good time. And we're on our way to Lambert, centre of Australia, which I think I can actually see the sign in the distance now, which is our turn off. So any second now, this will basically mark the end of our trip. Driven from Brisbane on the east coast all the way to the centre of Australia, crossing the Simpson Desert, French line. Took it out of us there for a while, but here we are. 12 Ks, and we'll be there. Big corrugated this go. Well, here we are at the end of our trip at the centre of Australia. Pretty cool place, never been here before, so I think it's a pretty good way to finish up. What do you reckon, Nat?
I think it's a great way to finish up. It's very interesting. We can sign the visitor book.
There's a lot of flies here though, so that's it. Well done.
Can you add that bit in?
I will.
The Simpson Desert and Central Australia in general is a must-see destination. If you haven't been already, it should be on your bucket list. The amount of things you can do out here, places you can go, you name it, it'll blow your mind. Even if you're someone that just loves it up north like I am, the Simpson Desert will have your heart after this, and it'll keep you wanting more and more of that desert camping. If you've enjoyed the series, make sure you subscribe, throw us a like, give us a comment, and stay tuned as we bring you more and more remote travel moving into the future. Thanks to our sponsors Light Force Performance Lighting, MSA 4x4 Accessories, Airbag Man, and Install by Stu.